think I can start the recording. Um, Happy to have you here today. I don't know where you all are calling from, but on this cold, wet, rainy day here in Los Angeles. Um, we're here to talk about the MFA in Performance Pedagogy here at Loyola Marymount University. I am more than happy to give you the propaganda about the program and all the cool stuff that we do. But if anyone has any questions that they're burning right up front to know, we can also start that way. Do either of you have any preference?
I don't. Thank you for having me, and I'm glad to speak with you. I'm sorry I can't put on my video right now.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
If
Thank you.
a few years of Zoom has taught me anything, as a professor, I'm used to talking to name cards on a screen. So we're
Okay.
fine. Okay.
Thank you.
So if you don't have any pressing questions, I'll tell you a little bit about the program, and then we'll open it up for conversation and discussion. The MFA, which is currently in its 5th year, is designed primarily for working professionals, people who are acting or in the arts, and for high school and university teachers who want to get a terminal degree in performance pedagogy. It's not a degree in acting. So the assumption is you already have been acting, you know how to act. We're not going to teach you how to act, although tangentially, and to be brutally honest, if you really want to learn something, teach it. I find teaching has made me a much better, all the different things I do. When I teach stage combat choreography, I become a better choreographer. When I teach acting, I become a better actor as a result. So, but to that end, we do not teach acting per se. Instead, you are an active presence in the theater department, teaching, assisting teaching some of the full-time faculty to get a sense of how the classroom actually works. As with a lot of graduate degrees, it's some theory. For the first few classes, we're going to sit around and talk a lot. And then after that, it's a lot of practice. The idea being that if you're in the program, we don't need to teach you how to act because you've been doing it. You don't need an MFA in acting. But if you're interested in teaching, that is actually a special skill set that's in some ways unrelated to acting. So the program is designed for people who want to learn how to teach theater, how to teach acting. One of the first questions we're going to ask when you come into the program is, what do you want to be when you grow up? For example, I want to be a cowboy or a dinosaur. And we're particularly interested in what are your career goals for the program? Do you want to teach at a university? Do you want to teach in a high school? Do you want to open your own acting studio? What is your purpose in achieving this degree? And we ask that for a couple different reasons. One is from the second you arrive, we're thinking about what happens when you leave. What kind of work will be available to you? Because there are 923 degree granting institutions in the United States that give theater degrees, but they are very, very different institutions. UCLA, for example, has a full-time faculty of about 60 people. Here at Loyola Marymount, we have a full-time faculty of 15, a part-time faculty of 25. If you're teaching at UCLA, which again is a fine institution, I mean, it's no LMU, but it's a fine institution, you are teaching your specialty, whatever that is. If you're the stage combat choreographer, if you are the voice person, then that is what you teach. Here at LMU, I teach in the graduate program. I teach courses for undergraduates. I teach classes in Asian theater and African theater. I teach stage combat. I teach Shakespeare. So I teach a bunch of different things. And then I have a friend and colleague who teaches at a small school in Alabama, and he is the theater department. He's the sole professor. So he directs, he hires designers, he teaches all of the classes. And so we look at what is it that you want to do with this degree, or you're just open to it. The degree itself consists of 20 courses, 7 of which are prescribed, 2 of which are your thesis, and 11 of which are elective. And I'll touch on each of those in turn. The prescribed courses, there are 7 of them, are courses that we require everyone to take because they give you a firm grounding in theater pedagogy. And please note, it's theater pedagogy, not just acting pedagogy. Because again, if you're in a small department, or if you're working for a high school or a private school, you may be one of only a few people working on the faculty, and you need to be able to know a number of different things. Plus, as I'm sure you both know, theater is a collaborative art. We work together. So it's useful to know, sort of the ins and outs of the whole business. So everyone takes, for example, Introduction to Theater Pedagogy, Issues in Theater Pedagogy, Theories of Acting and Directing, Diversity and Equity in the theater classroom, Methodology and Research for Theater, Directing, The idea being everyone sort of needs to be grounded in these areas for any kind of teaching that you're going to do. For your thesis, it's a 2-semester deal. You spend 1 semester planning and then the next semester executing it. And this is your capstone experience here. So that's 2 courses out of the 20 you have to take. 95% of our students for their thesis design a course and then they teach that course. Literally, LMU hires you to teach your thesis class to undergraduates. And that way you have a sort of signature course when you finish up here that you teach that no one else teaches. That's sort of interesting and fun. So we have people doing things like Meisner acting for camera, writing for the actor. We have someone right now doing acting through the senses. We have someone who's doing a course on the business of acting and teaching students the difference between an agent and a manager, the unions, how the industry actually works. So these are all courses that the students designed, and now LMU has hired them to teach as part of their education here. The remaining 11 courses are, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? In some cases, it's acquiring skills. For example, this summer, we're offering teaching Shakespeare. We're offering teaching Chekhov. We're offering Stanislavski's system of acting. And then we are also offering, directing, which is one of the required courses that comes sort of through this summer. I teach a course, for example, called Survey of Dramatic Literature. But rather than an undergraduate survey of dramatic literature where we say, okay, here's a Greek play, here's a Shakespeare play, here's a French play, here's a Chinese play, here's a play by Wole Soyinka, a play by Athol Fugard, and here are a whole bunch of plays by mid-century American playwrights. Instead of doing that, we say, okay, the point of this is for if you're going to be a teacher, you need to know plays for the classroom that you can assign your students to act. And you're going to have most likely a wide, diverse classroom with students who want to be performing from their own lived experiences. So each week it's sort of a go out and read, find and read 3 plays that have characters who have a disability. Go out and find plays that feature a wide variety of characters from a wide variety of ethnicities. Let's take a look at, for example, Native American playwrights this week, First Nations playwrights. The idea being, by the time the semester's over, you've got a list of about 100 plays with different characters, different situations, different levels of ability required, so that now you have a canon for your own personal classroom, the sorts of things that you want to teach. So it's really about exploring what's out there and what's available in terms of dramatic literature. So we have elective courses that you can take, like all the ones I just mentioned. About half of your electives, however, are not going to be classes where you sit with a group of people and learn something. Instead, as a class, you become the TA for a course that we regularly offer. So let's imagine you're interested in learning how to teach acting for the camera. You've acted on camera before, but you want to learn how to teach it. So we would have you TA the Intro to Camera Acting class with, for example, Professor Jim Holmes. And then the next semester you would TA the Advanced Camera Acting class with Professor Ronnie Clark. So you're learning from people who have been teaching this for decades and who are working with current undergraduates, but they themselves, everyone in the department is a working professional. We're not hiding away in an ivory tower. We're not going to tell you what the business was like 10 years ago when we were in it. We're all working. And it's our job to make our students, our undergraduate students, our colleague on set, and it's our job to make you our colleague in the classroom. And so you're TAing, but this isn't like TAing where it's a lecture class of 100 people and you correct the quizzes or you lead a discussion group. This is, if you're TAing, for example, my stage combat class, one, you're the demonstration person. I'm going to bring you over and say, okay, let me show you how to do a non-contact face punch. And you work with me to show the students, but then you also go through and you coach individual students. Sometimes I might ask you to partner with a student to help them do it better. So you're actively present in the class. You're watching me teach the students, but you are also actively teaching the students yourself. And there may come a point where I say, look, from now on, I'm just going to have you lead warm-ups, keep an eye on the students, keep an eye on these different students, what they're doing, et cetera, to help you develop an eye towards coaching when we're doing choreographed violence on stage. Again, the idea being you are learning how to do this so that you will teach it at whatever institution ultimately ends up hiring you. So there's a wide variety of experiences within those 20 classes. 7 are prescribed, 2 are your thesis, and 11 are what do you want to learn? We're very responsive to student requests. I just added a class this fall because students asked, can we have a class in this? Students have come to me before saying, can we have a class in theater for young audiences? Can we have a class in teaching viewpoints and Raza boxes. Cool, of course you can. So if enough people are interested, we hire an expert here in LA, bring them in and have them teach the course. So there's a number of things that are available. And as you're here, we sort of work through the timeline itself. If you're coming full-time, it's 3 years, although it's academic years, so it's really 2.5. Because it's 20 courses, full-time is 3 courses per semester for a total of 6 semesters, 2 per year. And then you take 1 course each summer. That's just how it's structured to go if you attend quote unquote full-time. However, we have students who are taking just 1 course per term, 1 each semester, and then 2 in the summer because there are 2 summer sessions. So you're taking 4 classes a year, which means in 5 years you have the degree, which is really the longest it takes to get the degree. We've had a number of students now who have come through and done it in 2 years because they take not 1 course each summer, but 4 courses every summer. So if you take 4 courses for 2 summers and then 3 courses per semester, you can finish the degree in 2 years if you want. So there's a lot of flexibility. To be brutally honest, that's the buzzword of the degree, so to speak, flexibility. You don't go through as a cohort, you go through as an individual. We start with whatever your career goals are, and we work towards what do you want to do with this degree. You take the courses that you want when you want to, all the required courses. Sorry, I'm far away from the motion detector. You take the required courses. They will be offered to each at least twice while you're here. And you go through at your pace, depending on what it is that you want to do and what it is you're interested in learning and developing in order to become a teacher. We do offer the California State Teaching Credential. We partnered with the School of Education, so some of your elective courses can go towards satisfying the coursework to get the California State Teaching Credential if you want to teach theater, for example, in a public high school. Let's see, what am I not talking about? What do we still need to cover? Actually, that's pretty much it. It's designed to teach you how to teach theater. You get a lot of active practical classroom experience. You have a guiding hand in terms of what you learn and when and where you go. Oh yes, classes meet once a week. They're either Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, pick one, and they go from either 4:30 to 7, and then 7:30 to 10. So you're usually here in the late afternoon or evening, and they meet once a week. So if you're going full time, for example, in your first semester, welcome. If you're going full time in your first semester, you might be here Monday from 7:30 to 10, and then Tuesday 4:30 to 7, 7:30 to 10, and then that's it. That is full time, just 2 evenings. In your second semester, you might be here, for example, Wednesdays from 7 to 10 and Thursdays from 4:30 to 7, but then you're TAing a class, so you also come in Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 2:15 because the class that you're TAing meets then. And again, we work with your schedule. If you have a full-time day job, we will not ask you to TA a course that meets while you're at work. So Tiana, welcome. Glad you could join us. Just going over the degree and how it works and the process. And if you want to stick around afterwards, since you're joining us a little late, I'm happy to go over the stuff we've already covered. This feels like a good time to take a break because I need a drink. But does anyone have any questions? Anything that you need to know? Any burning questions?
I don't have a question
Yes, please.
that's burning, but I would ask if you plan to start. I know you said that it's approximately 3 years.
Yes.
Is in the is the maximum only 3 courses at the most semester? Is that why?
In theory, it is. We have had some people who have taken 4 courses per semester. So it's possible to carry an overload. I wouldn't much go beyond 4, but again, as I've mentioned, people who can do 4 in the semester and then do the maximum amount allowed during the summer, you can finish the degree within 2 years. If as I'm doing the math in my head, I would imagine it's possible to finish it up in 18 months, but you won't have sleeper friends, but you'll have a degree.
Well, who needs those? No, just
You'll fit in fine here.
But my other question is, one of my while I was research, I was trying to understand, and do you see a advantage or difference between someone pursuing a PhD in like theater and performance studies versus this program being an MFA?
They're both terminal degrees, and they do slightly different things. Cards on the table. I have a PhD in theater and performance studies,
Okay.
but I also have an MA from England, where they, at least back in the 90s, they didn't have MFAs then. They started to develop the MFA in England. So I got the equivalent of an MFA in directing. In terms of the programs, usually when you get a PhD, they're looking for you to teach sort of the history, theory, crit, lit classes.
Okay.
Literature theory, and that's with my PhD. That's what I'm doing. Is I'm teaching theater history. I'm teaching surveys to undergraduates. I teach seminars, but then I also, as I mentioned earlier, teach stage combat. I teach acting, and that sort of comes out of a different part. In the end, ultimately, one of the things that we'll talk about during the degree process is how you get hired and how universities, for example, look for people. So one of the things you'll see, and this is a bit more specific than you've asked, is in a job description is they'll say, we're looking for someone to teach both theory classes and acting classes. So you can have either an MFA or PhD. Some will say we really want a PhD. Some will say we really want an MFA. And that's because the MFA is tends to be a much more practical and practice oriented. As I say, on my MFA days, I'm usually wearing sweats, and on my PhD days, I'm wearing a sports coat and down shirt. Because the one I'm moving with students, I'm playing with weapons, and then when I'm dressed like this, after this, I have one of my graduate seminars tonight, so we'll be sitting around the table discussing the politics of American actor training, which is a book we all just read. So in the end, go for the degree you want. There are differences in what they are and what they do, and each has its own, I don't want to say limitations, but each has its own appeal to those who hire people to teach acting or teach theater. But 9 times out of 10, and one of the things that we do here is say we're keeping an eye on what happens to you when you get out of here. So you're not just sort of getting a generic terminal degree in terms of MFA, PhD, it's all faculty. It's what are your specialties? You can come out of here teaching acting to undergraduates fairly easily, but what will make a university really want to hire you? What are the other things that you bring to the table? And again, cards on the table. Before I ran this program, I was the chair of the department for 8 years. And not a week went by that I wouldn't get 2 or 3 resumes from people who had just moved to LMU, and the letter was almost invariably the same. I have my MFA from fill in the blank good school. I'm a professional actor, but I've taught acting as part of my MFA. I'd love to teach at LMU. And my somewhat snarky response is always, yeah, you would love to teach here because it's a great school. But I have 300 resumes of people who can teach beginning acting, acting 1. What I need is someone who can teach that, but who can also teach something else, because I'm looking for people to sort of fill multiple slots. So the person who applies who says, I can teach acting, but I can also teach movement, or I can teach voice, or I can teach Meisner technique, that's the person who usually would come in for the interview, because they could do more than most other folks. So that's what we're looking at, is what is your specialization?
Okay.
And there are a wide variety possible. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. That's exactly what I was glad you got specific with it, because I just had been inquiring about the different programs, and when I saw this one, I mean, I love how you even open it up, because that's the kind of the mantra that I'm going by. If you want to really learn something, teach it. So
Yep.
I'm thinking that is ideally why this program works with me, because what I want to do, I see far as my future, I think goes in tandem with teaching it to be able to be the best at it. So yeah.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it.
Right.
Yeah, and just to sort of build on that a little, as I mentioned earlier, the byword of the day is flexibility. So if you're working as an actor and you want to continue to develop, we don't want you to quit your job. We're not going to ask that you be here 6 days a week, 16 hours a day. We want you to continue to have your career, whatever it is, and continue to pursue whatever arts you're pursuing. I think it's one of the happiest things if you come to me and say, I'm not going to be in class next week because I just got, a guest star on 911, or I have an appearance on, some TV show, or I was just cast in a feature. It's only 2 scenes, but I'm going to be gone next week. Great. And if you say I was just cast as a lead in a feature, we film in Thailand for 10 weeks, the response is going to be, that's totally awesome. So this semester, let's not take classes, and then when you get back, the university's been here for over a century. God willing, the creek don't rise. It's going to be here for centuries more. So if an opportunity presents itself, take it and then come back and continue your education. We have a student who's working on Broadway right now. So she's only taking one course, but because that course starts at 7:30 Los Angeles time, which is 10:30 in New York, she finishes the show, gets back to her apartment, flips on the computer, and joins us. I call it Avengers style. You know, we have 3 people sitting in the classroom, or 4 people rather, sitting in the classroom live, and then 2 computers set up for 2 people to zoom in. And the conversation is just as if they were in the room. So we can make accommodations like that for the short term. It's not an online degree by any stretch of the imagination, but we're responsive to student needs, because once you're in the program, your family, your success is our success, and we work with you to make sure you will be successful. So, Charlie, I thought I saw you unmute for a second. There was more you wanted to say or ask?
No, I was just saying thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see, other questions, concerns, thoughts? And I apologize for speaking very quickly. I grew up in New England. This is what my people do. We talk quickly and don't have emotion. So that's probably why I went into theater. A few other things to throw on the table then. I'm going to share my screen for a second just for some stuff for you all to be aware of. We have student resources coming up after this session. So we're going from 4 to 5. You can join the student resource sessions that are happening at the same time. From 6 to 6:30, there's going to be a session on financial aid. We'll talk more about that in a second. The student organization, GSLMU, the graduate students of LMU, and then finally international admission, if that's relevant for any of you, is from 7 to 7:30. And you can get all of those, I believe, on the admissions website. The same link that got you here can help you. So if you have time tonight, these are all worth checking out. And I'm going to touch base on at least 2 of these. The first is on GSLMU. One of the things that I like to say about our program is you can be as active in the community as you want to be. We have some students who just show up for their classes and they get the degree and walk out. And we have some students who have joined student government, who are active in production on campus, who have become involved in various organizations on campus, and take full advantage of being part of an active artistic and intellectual community. And that's welcome and that's wonderful. You can join LMU's Fitness Center. We're the cheapest gym in Los Angeles with the most up-to-date equipment. I belonged for the longest time, but now that I'm getting older, I don't want to work out next to 18 and 22-year-olds. It just makes me feel bad. But I do love belonging to the pool. So there's a world of stuff available to you once you become an LMU student. And you can be as active on campus or as active in the community as you want. We have a Shakespeare Festival every summer, and last year, for example, 4 graduate students participated in that. 2 as assistant directors and 2 as performers, who sort of were working with the professional actors, and they were professional actors, they were equity, but then we also have alumni and current students, and so graduate students who are involved in the Shakespeare Festival. That's literally a course for them, where they're actively involved in production, but they're might be like, okay, you're going to serve as the vocal coach, or you're going to serve as the acting coach, because we have a couple of sophomores who have never done Shakespeare before, and here they have small roles in Caesar. As director, I don't have time to teach them. So you, as the graduate student, are going to coach them with Shakespeare, and we'll talk about it. And this counts as one of your 20 courses. So again, huge opportunities available across the board. In terms of financial aid, the degree itself, unfortunately, LMU does not have full rides or free rides. That's not the way the university is structured at current. Who knows what will happen in the future. But one of the things that we do and take quite seriously is to try to make sure the cost of the degree is as reasonable as possible. So cards on the table, it will cost something. However, one, I would recommend going to the financial aid. If you're interested in applying to the program, go to the financial aid session after this. And secondly, be aware that every student, without exception, gets a scholarship while you're in the program. It won't cover all of the expenses, but it will cover some of them. And everyone gets something. And then at least twice during your career here, the university literally hires you to teach a class. Everyone teaches beginning acting for the non-major. So in your second year here, you have the experience of being the only person in the class, well, being the only professor in the classroom. Someone like me or one of my colleagues will come and observe, but you're teaching the class and then meeting regularly with a mentor who sort of talks you through teaching a course on acting. To people who are non-majors, this is not the career they're choosing, but it's a way for you to sort of begin teaching at the college level. And then, as I mentioned earlier, most people for their class, for their thesis, teach a course that they've designed. So at least twice we hire you, and we pay you what we would pay anyone else to teach this college course. The difference is if you're a graduate student, we put the money directly into your student account in the form of a scholarship right at the beginning of the semester, because then it's non-taxable. So all of the money goes to covering the cost of your education rather than Uncle Sam getting his share. So we do everything we can to make the cost manageable, and certainly financial aid also works with you to find ways to help keep the degree as inexpensive as possible. So again, cards on the table, it will cost something. We work to make sure that it's not onerous or sort of life destroying or finance destroying. That's those three things. I think we've covered most of the stuff. Other questions, and those of you who have just joined us, welcome. If you're coming in late, feel free to stick around when we're done, and I'm happy to touch base on all the stuff we've already covered. Any questions? Then a few final offers. One, well, not today because it's raining terribly, but this is an absolutely gorgeous campus. When I first started teaching here, I told my wife, I'm living and working in paradise and I'm going to die here. And she's like, it's that bad? I'm like, no, it's that good. This is the place that I'm going to retire from. I'm not going to ever work anywhere else because I really like this campus. And it's physically beautiful. We have a very beautiful campus. If you go out on the bluff here, on a clear day, you can see from Malibu to the Hollywood sign. It's the best view in all of Los Angeles. But it's also a beautiful campus just in terms of the campus climate. The students are all really excited. Everyone's happy to be here. This is the first campus I've ever been at that you can stop literally anyone and say, where's this building? And if they know, they will tell you. And if they don't know, they will help you find someone who does. I've never seen anyone keep walking and be like, sorry, I don't know. It's incredibly friendly. The students themselves, I think 85% of the undergraduate student body are involved some way in community service or social justice. So there's an entire attitude within the culture of the university of lifting others as we climb and making the world a better place. And that certainly infuses the MFA program as well. So it's absolutely a lovely place to be. If you live in Los Angeles, come by. It's an open campus. You can come on as a visitor, walk around. If you know that you're coming and you would like to sit in on a graduate course, just let me know and I'll let you know what courses are meeting during the week and when you can come and sit in on one. Talk to current graduate students, see what the program is like. I'm also happy to give you a tour of the facilities. Right now, the funny thing is our theaters are closed because they're undergoing a multi-million-dollar renovation. So you can't actually see most of the theater spaces or even the theater classrooms right now, but come August, we're going to have state-of-the-art facility and some really great rehearsal and teaching classrooms. Right now we're teaching and Allison has just sort of given you information here about the campus tour as a graduate student. So you are more than welcome to virtually tour the school, get a tour from admissions, or come tour the theater, or come sit in on a class. So I believe I've covered everything that I need to cover unless anyone has a question. Otherwise, Tiana and ARC or ARC, I'm not sure if those are initials or a nickname or but that is a very cool dog. If you want to stick around, I'm more than happy to answer questions or tell you a little bit more about the show. The admissions process, I would encourage you all as well to go to our website. There's a lot of information there about the curriculum, but also about how to apply, what we're looking for. And again, you can email me. You see my name there. Just stick a dot in between first and last name and then write at lmu.edu. If that feels like too much to write, then just K Wetmore, as in I went back out in the rain and got wet more. K Wetmore at lmu.edu. I'm happy to Zoom individually with folks to talk about the program or connect you up with current students, whatever you need to help make an informed decision. Because in the end, that's what we want. We want you to want to be here if this is what you want to do. Yes, Tiana.
Oh, I didn't have a question. I was just wondering, because I came in a couple of minutes late, so I was just wondering what I missed.
Sure. Uh, so the long and the short of it is this is an MFA in performance pedagogy. So it's not an acting degree per se. You don't take acting courses. Instead, you take classes in how to teach acting and also how to teach other things. LMU, I didn't mention this earlier, so this will be new information for those who have been here for a while. LMU is a Jesuit school. I like to say LMU is as Catholic as you want it to be. Some students go to mass every day, and some students in their junior year are like, who's the guy on sticks in the classroom? And I'm like, the crucifix? Oh, we need to talk. Good Lord. How do I explain this to you? So the university is as Catholic as you want it to be, but as a Jesuit institution, we are men and women and non-binaries and aces for others. That's who and what we are. We are very much committed to social justice and to making the world a better place. We lift others as we climb. We're not saying don't climb. We're saying as you climb, make the world a better place. So there's some social justice involved, for example, in the MFA. The MFA itself is a total of 20 courses, 7 of which are prescribed, 2 of which are your thesis, and 11 of which are elective. So the 7 prescribed ones are basically dictated to or dedicated to giving everyone the same grounding in theater pedagogy. So you're going to take Introduction to Theater Pedagogy, Teaching Acting, Theories of Acting and Directing, Research and Methodology in Theater. And it gives everyone sort of the same solid grounding in teaching theory, but also how universities actually work. And then you do a thesis, which 90 to 95% of the time is the first semester you design a class, and the second semester you teach the class. LMU literally hires you to teach the course that you've designed. In some cases, students have also said, I could design a course, but can I just do a scene study, or can I do the intro to camera acting? And the answer to that is almost always, yeah, let's have you teach that then, if that's what you want to do. You're still going to spend a semester designing your version of it, and then a semester executing it. So that's 2 of your courses. The remaining 11 are, what do you want to be when you grow up? What kind of teaching do you want to do? Do you want to teach at the university level? Do you want to teach at the high school level? Some of those electives can be, we offer classes in conjunction with the School of Education. So you can take classes that lead to the California State Teaching Credential in Theater Arts. That would allow you to teach high school and junior high school theater at any public high school in California. Other students do, if I may misquote the haiku of Donald Rumsfeld, the unknown unknowns, the stuff that you don't even know that you don't know about yet. You show up and go, oh, I had no idea you could actually teach that. And people would like hire you and pay you to teach that. How do I do that? And then you spend a year or 2 just sort of training with the faculty you teach that. So for example, the example I've been using, because I'm a stage combat choreographer and I teach stage combat here, you might not have ever done that. You show up and you spend a semester TAing the course with me, and you discover that you really like it. Okay, then let's have you TA it again, have you TA the advanced course, maybe serve then as the fight captain for the Shakespeare Festival, so that when you walk out of here, you're a certified stage combatant and an associate instructor with Dueling Arts International or Society of American Fight Directors. So that in addition to being able to teach acting and maybe teach camera acting, you also say, oh, and I'm a certified stage combat instructor. So you discover things here that you didn't realize were something that you could do or were passionate about, or could be part of your teaching. So it's partly you take what you already do as an actor and learn how to teach it, and partly discover things that excite you here and say, oh, I want to make that part of my teaching repertory as well. So there are prescribed classes. In the electives, we do offer classes that you can take, teaching Shakespeare, teaching Stanislavski, Survey of Dramatic Literature. We have a course on teaching Black acting methods. We have a course on one of the required courses is equity and diversity in the theater classroom. You might be interested in Meisner, teaching, we have classes on teaching camera acting, but then you also say, I'd like to learn how to do this. Okay, cool. Then let's hire someone to teach that, or we offer a class in it. Let's have you TA that class, and that's going to be one of your classes. So you're not taking the class that the undergraduates are taking, you're taking a directed study whereby you teach, you're sort of the assistant teacher, but it's not just you're sitting there taking notes and just sort of observing, you're an active presence in the classroom. Make sense?
Yeah.
What else
Thanks.
did we cover? On average, full-time is 3 classes per semester. And since it's 20 classes, it takes 6 semesters of 3 classes each, and then 1 class per summer. So you finish the degree in 3 years going full time. Almost no one actually has followed that model. Several have, but we've had people who finish the degree in 2 years by taking 3 or 4 classes per semester and then 4 classes each summer instead of 1, because we have 2 summer sessions with 2 classes that you can take 2 classes each during, so you can finish the degree in 2 years. We have had people just take 1 course per term. And if you do that, you finish in 5 years. So the whole idea of the degree is that it is flexible in every sense of the word. You don't go through as a cohort. From the second you show up, we ask, what are your career goals? What do you want to get out of this degree? We're going to guide you in terms of how you do it. So you go through at your own pace, you study what you want. I'm sorry, there appears to be someone knocking at the door. There appears to, you go through at your own pace. And if you need to take a semester off because you've got a great acting gig or you're going to do a feature film somewhere, cool, take the semester off. If this semester you're only going to take 2 classes, that's fine. You can take, maybe 4 then next semester and make it up during the summer sometime. You go through at your own pace. Classes themselves meet once a week, usually from 4:30 to 7 or 7:30 to 10. So even if you're going full time, which is 3 classes, you're usually only here maybe two days. You're here Monday from 7:30 to 10, and then Tuesday 4:30 to 7 and 7:30 to 10. Excuse me, I don't think this person is going to go away. Give me 1 second here. Sorry about this.
That's okay. I think that's where I came in, so.
Hi, everyone. I'll jump in and just do a little PSA that if you did not sign up for any of the resource sessions this evening, you won't have the actual link. So please go ahead and fill out the form for today or tomorrow's sessions, and you'll get it in your email right away and even on the confirmation page. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Well, again, you have my email, you have my contact information. If there's anything else you want to know about the degree, and again, allow me to encourage you to go to the website and explore it. There's testimonials from current and former students. There's the entire outline of the degree curriculum, the courses that we offer, the required courses. There's information about how to apply for financial aid. There's information about scholarships. There's information about the department itself, our production season. It really is one-stop shopping. And if there is stuff there that you see and you have questions about, you are more than welcome to email me. And I'm more than happy to talk you through anything, answer any questions. And again, for those of you who joined us late, if you do want to come to campus, you're welcome to visit it. Alicia has already very kindly in the chat put the admissions tour. If you want to come and get a specific tour of the theater stuff and maybe meet some of the theater faculty, just let me know when you want to come to campus and I'll set that up. And if we have a graduate class going on at the time, you are more than welcome to visit and sit in on the class and talk with current students to see how it's going. So. Any other questions? Oh, no worries, Angeline, if I may. Yeah, here in Southern California, if it rains, it's the apocalypse. So you have nothing to apologize for. We are fortunate that the power and the technology are here and working. So if there are no other questions, then vaya con Dios. Really appreciate it. I hope to see applications from anyone who is interested. And again, I'll stick around for a few minutes if anyone has any specific personal questions. But otherwise, hope to see an application from you. And thanks for considering LMU. That would appear to be us.